Flores, Councilwoman Castillo, consultant, John Longoria, architect, David Malone. And our city secretary, Margaret Doyles. And I'll turn it over to John Longoria. He's met with associations, he's met with the Little League, he's met with the football, he's met with the soccer associations. He's listened to their needs and wants of the proposed complex. And he's ready to come back and give us the preliminary ideas for the complex. I'll just turn it over to you, Ben.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to hand out here a summary, kind of a project summary, and I'll explain. And this is going to be the talking points I'm going to be working off of. And I'm also going to hand out a kind of just an initial draft layout of the field that you're looking at. So if you look at just give you some background. I had a couple of trips here. I spent a couple hours with two sets of groups. The Little League group, that encompassed all Little League and Little League Girls Fast Pitch, the Wildcat Football, the Wilson County Soccer, and then the Boys and Girls Club. Those are the groups we spent some time with. We showed them some renderings and talked about the project and what it entailed, and then we asked for specific feedback from them. And here's kind of what we got. So if you look at your drawing here, so you can, and I'm going to speak to this, and I'll kind of work through the drawing here. In your drawing, if you're looking right at it, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4 field complex right there. Okay, you see that 4-field complex? And this is not the final configuration. We just got the 7 fields that they were looking at on a drawing here. And I'll give you some background on what our discussions with staff, how they progressed earlier. So the first 4-field complex, and then you go back to your handout here. Little League field 1 and 2, which is your Little League fields, are kind of like 2 twin fields. They're going to be identical. They would have a 6-foot high fencing, safety capping, 225 feet at the corners, new foul poles, dugouts with double entries, attached bullpens, lighting systems for Little League play. There'll be new scoreboards that were located in all these fields, but they're not in the contract. The Little League field, the scoreboards will hopefully be sponsored by businesses in the community. And then all the field work would include grading, sod in the infield, sod in the outfield, and an irrigation system. Okay. If you go to field 3 there, that's a larger field. That's the largest field in this whole complex. That's the junior baseball field, what they play kind of high school baseball at. That entire field would meet UIL standards. The fence, the numbers we were using is 315 in left, 330 in center, 310 in right. And we could change that. That could be any number that it needs to be, but that was what we feel was a good starting point. The field work would include grading, sod in the infield, outfield, irrigation system, lighting, bullpens next to the dugout. And we talked about the potential press box at that field, and then bleacher size. And then field number 4 there is the girls' fast pitch / adult field. It's a dual youth field. It would be a 275-foot fence, 6-foot fence all the way around, with provisions for a 200-foot temporary fence for Little League. You've seen those temporary fences they put up. They have these stakes that go in the ground about this deep. They're flat level, and the pole goes in there, and then they set up a temporary fence at 200 foot, so the ball doesn't roll all the way 300. And that's what and it allows you for the girls to play Little League fastball. And then when their season's over, you just take the fence up, put it to the side, store it, and then the adults can play softball on a full-size fence. The infields are identical at 60-foot bases, so there's no, you don't have to change anything there. So you have a, what we refer to as a dual-use field. So, that would be a skinned infield, sod in the outfield, and of course it would have irrigation. Now, those 4 fields right there would be the only lighted fields, all right? Only those fields would have lights on it, so the whole complex would be lighted. Some of the amenities there, and you're going to hear this probably twice, I think I have amenities on here twice, there'd be an entrance. We have it on the north end, but we, in discussions earlier, we changed that to the south end, and we'll explain why in a little bit. All right, and when we say Greenwich, that's what we kind of like, when you walk up the facility, kind of a sense of arrival, you know you're at the ball field walking in. We're going to actually make use of some natural resources to get there, big natural resources. There is press boxes at the fields behind the backstop, of course, lighting for the complexes. There's there will be one central restroom facility that would have a concession stand in it. The scoreboards in each of the 4 fields that would be provided by donors, foul poles, safety capping, and we're looking to locate a 2,000 square foot splash pad, and then there would be parking. So there's your lighted complex here. Now let me go to field number 5. Field number 5 is, you see that right there in the lower south end of the complex. That is a softball field identical to field number 4. Okay, it'll be almost an identical field. The only difference is it will not have any lighting on it. So it allows you, lighting on a field like this is $100,000. So this lighted complex allows every baseball to play 9 games. And then you have a day field here for the complex. 2 75-foot fence, provisions for a 200-foot temporary fence, dugouts, skinned infield, grading, solid infield, no lighting, and then of course there will be foul poles there. And in field 6 and 7 is the 2 little fields there. And one of the things the Little League currently does is they play, like if you look at field number 3, they play their games in the corner of those big fields. That's a big field. So they play their t-ball there. Well, if you're going to put a new field there, it's probably not appropriate to, you have people walking on it, you have launchers on it, a lot of trash on it, and then you're going to have a base path out there. It's actually probably cheaper for us just to build a new field 6 and 7, and it would meet their needs, and it would be a t-ball and a coach pitch field. 175-foot fence, and there would be no pitcher's mound there, so Little League and t-ball and coach pitch can play. So there are your 7 fields there that we feel met the needs according to their requests there from the Little League.
John, what would be the difference between 6 and 7 and 1 and 2? I know the dimensions are smaller, but could the same type of sport be played on the field like 1 and 2?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Do they have pitchers now, 1 and 2?
And a lot of, see the pitcher's mound for coach pitch, if you play coach pitch, the pitcher's mound is about, I think it's 37, right at the front of the pitcher's mound is where the coach pitch throws from.
It can be removed, right?
Yeah, but you don't want to, because you put so much work into it, you don't want to scrape it. Now, people do use temporary mounds there.
That's what we should use in temporary mounds anyway.
Yeah, so if you use temporary mounds, but remember, all these leagues play at the same time. They all play at the same time. So,
Yeah, but they're focused more on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the week, correct? These leagues?
well, they play all week. I don't know if they play
It's during the
specific
week.
day. Well, I mean, so what, I don't know what
So I'll explain that how this plays here.
But what would be the cost, is there a big difference in cost between a 1 and 2 and a 6 and 7?
well, primarily the lighting is the difference. Okay.
No, I'm not saying the lighting, keep it the same dimensions.
Oh, you mean building 6 and 7 as large as 1 and 2? It's just a matter, we're also trying to fit these in that, we could do that. It's just that if your t-ball play there, or the coach pitch and they hit a ball on a 225 fence, there's no play in that game. It's one of the fence, the kid makes it all the way around. But 175-foot fence allows play. We could do it either way. We're not stuck on it. Okay, I'm not stuck on the depth of the fence. there won't be any Little League played on there because the Little League guys fit here, they're fine with field 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
I mean, if you're not gonna get Little League play on field 7 and 6, but we can work through that. I know where you're headed, maybe it's good for other tournaments or other leagues, so that would maximize it to a 4-field, you know.
A 4-field diamond.
Yeah, so which we could, then we could turn 1 and 2 around and just you'd have a 4-field identical diamond.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we could do that.
Okay.
We got some information today that may allow us to accurately size these fields according to the dimension. The dimensions here aren't accurate because they're not to scale, and we don't have we have a survey. Yeah. So, I just wanted to show you the fields that were requested. So, the depth of the fence can change. There's not much of a problem as long as we agree to do that up front, because there will be lights behind some and not lights behind the other.
Right.
So we could certainly.
What does the rest of the council think about that? Instead of limiting to a smaller field, just make the larger Little League size field.
You know, we could build them at 200 too. I mean, 25 more feet, and that's the official Little League field.
Not only that, but the girls softball fields are around 225, 215, 200. Same thing.
The fast pitcher, they're all at 200. The minimum is 200. Yeah. So, you know, if you did that, then you have your 4 and 5 to serve an adult. How you operate those? You know, we're just trying to create maximum flexibility in doing, and I guess adding 25 more feet to 6 and 7 would still give you flexibility. Yeah. So that's not a problem doing that.
Okay.
John, what do you mean by temporary fence in that number?
In 4 and 5, those fences right there are 300 or 275. So a temporary fence would be at 200. You would have there would be what they call it's a 4-foot plastic fence that goes up there. So one of the girls would hit the ball and stop.
Oh, but you don't take them off and store them someplace?
Yeah. Well, then when they finish, then you take them up and you store them
Do we
somewhere.
have storage space?
We're going to have storage in the concession, restroom, storage space that's built into that. So you would fold it up, kind of like like an accordion. Yeah.
I was concerned about the storage space.
Yeah. In that particular restroom, there's storage. And we haven't cited that yet because we have some, and I'll give you an idea of where it's going to go in a little bit. Some things we found out today. And I'll circle back here to get questions from everybody. So other complex amenities there would be we're looking at some uncovered, covered bleachers. We may end up going with covered depending on the amount of money we have. Certainly on the softball fields, 4 and 5, where you would play in a weekend tournament where they play all day, we could shade those. There's not much expense in that, but you want to make sure it's used. The standalone restroom concession stand would be constructed. It would be sited somewhere on here. Now, we need to make a connection with water and sewer, and currently we do not have this at this site. So we're going to work with your engineers to kind of find out what the fix is to do that, make that connection there. And then we have an ADA compliant sidewalk. We have picnic tables with canopies out there, and then there would be a double batting cage sited somewhere out there where the hardball players are playing. Let me go ahead and finish up with, just keep talking about that a little bit. Now, I kind of drew this earlier, and you have everybody knows where the tree is out there, right? Right? Everybody knows where the tree is out there. So I'm going to use this other map here. This is an older configuration we have. The tree is right here. So we've talked about having a parking lot over here. We've talked about having a parking lot here. And after discussing with the city manager, Sherry, and the architect, we felt that maybe the best place to have that parking lot is right here, because there is no road. It's just a trail that goes back there. So that's a pretty big asset. It'll be over $1 million. So what we talked about doing is creating a parking lot right here. In the shortest road possible here, right there. We could get to the parking lot there, and then we would have our arrival here on the south end rather than the north end, and then we could work the sense of arrival, the grand entrance, have the oak tree kind of be a centerpiece there, the gathering place. So 100-year-old tree. There's a lot of sentimental value to the community, so when you get out of the parking lot and you walk into the park, you're gonna walk, and in addition to that, we would then site a picnic table, there's splash pads, we have the money to do that, and then a place sitting there. So you're actually first walking into a park, a little gathering spot here where there would be all those amenities there. If there's no baseball playing, you're at the park. You're at a park. You're at a park that has a big, beautiful tree. It'll probably have a restroom somewhere located nearby. And what that does, there's kind of some advantages there. It makes the road shorter that we have to build. It makes the water run shorter. It makes the sewer run shorter rather than maybe running all the way over here. So you would have kind of an off-site, not an off-site, but an off-center bathroom concession and all that right here, because that's where the parking and your arrival would be. And then over here, we could create another kind of a commons area there between the fields there. It wouldn't be your traditional, you know how you have your concession and all that there. All that would be kind of located right here, and you would run your field operations from here. So we're going to work with that configuration today and see how that works out. And I think there's a lot of value to that. And then what the other thing it does, it makes your connection here. It kind of connects, you know, your beautiful convention center with the rest of the park there. And that'll keep it from having to incur the expense of running a road all the way around the open facility. That would be pretty expensive itself. So that's kind of where we're going to work on those layouts and kind of turn those fields where you have an entrance there, maybe a split entrance. We'll let the architect work on that.
And John, where exactly is the main entrance of the highway?
Well, the highway's right here, 97's right here, so this is before they finish the parking lot. So, you come in right here, and you go out over here, right? That's the way you'll set it up. I found out that the hard way, so, you drive here, so the parking lot's all right here, so, and then there would be another road that would go to the parking lot back here. And then you would go into the park, to the baseball park, splash field from right there. That's how you would get into it. So that's what I think, you know, so we're gonna work on that layout here. We don't have that layout here. It kind of looks, it's kind of there. I mean, we had a parking lot right there, but I mean, we have a little parking lot there. We're gonna probably do it in this oak tree, kind of, so you walk underneath the oak tree when you're going in. I know y'all are gonna do some work on that to take care of that and kind of make sure it's healthy. And that's probably a good sign. And I just want to kind of incorporate that because it's such a big, you know, big point there. I mean, it's a big visual that you capitalize on.
You want to talk about the next part, some of the amenities?
Well, we just kind of covered those right there. The picnic table is 80. So we'll come back with a look. You know, after we get some preliminary approval, if you guys give your nods to keep developing that, we'll bring you something a little bit more accurate, a little bit more detail on it on the meeting on the your next meeting. Okay, whatever you call it.
Your batting cage, is that on each field or?
There's one batting cage. But it's two batting cages in one. I mean, it's just split down the middle. There's two. It's like a 30 by 55. So it would be a gate for each one. They go into the cage. There's a perimeter fence and there's a netting fence on the inside. So people can go up on the fence and not worried about getting hit because there's a netting between them and the fence. So watch your kids. Yeah.
So is that gonna have pitching machines or that somebody's gonna?
It'll have outlets. So if the league buys a pitching machine.
And they carry them, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. I mean, it'll have an outlet there. So you just need an outlet to be able to plug it in. So some people like it. Some people just want to throw the ball. So the important thing is there'll be a concrete pad, so you don't have to worry about, you know, you see a lot without that concrete pad, and it's just not real, yeah, it just kind of gets, the maintenance just kind of you get a big hole there after a while, big mud hole. Okay, let me move on to and I'll come back here, I'm not, let's talk about the youth football, the Wildcats. Bronson is here, he was there, his group was there, and they were very helpful. If you, it's not in color, but it's right to the side. It says this is an off main site. They would like to stay where they were at. So you see them down over here. We have two fields lined up right there. They were very, and it may not be a bad idea. I'll tell you, there will be a constraint to moving any other fields up here because of the elevations. You have some really steep elevations. I don't know. Without moving tons and tons of dirt, we probably couldn't create a level field. So they would like to do is they'd like two youth football fields to be constructed, bleachers to be installed, They would like both fields lighted, possible use of the old Little League lights that are currently at the Little League fields. We get a new T-go post, the T-go post, and the fields would be irrigated or at least Q-coupled so they could make sure they irrigate them. And of course, we grade it, sod the field, and there'd be a perimeter fence to protect the field. So if you look at where there's two fields here side by side, and we just kind of laid them there for now, and what we end up doing is probably putting them, and I drew them on a little after when we were talking earlier. It would be kind of, this field would move over there. See how that goes right there? It'd be like back to back next to each other, okay? There's a lot of constraints here, and primarily there's the river there, and we have some erosion that's creeping here. There's some drainage coming off the hill up there, and then the restrooms that they currently use are the restrooms at the Little League field that they use more than any other restroom. We probably would not build a new concession stand there. There is an existing concession with the restrooms up there. There's a parking lot there. So we're going to have to do some more work on this field here because we're going to move that one football field up, and we think it'll fit there. And then we'll have to work with a contractor once one is selected on how we're going to recite those lights down there.
The concession you're talking about is actually the pavilion.
The pavilion. And another thing, you know, there's a lot of fixes here. We could always put a pad there that has electrical and water connections in case there's a flood came. You know, they could always put a temporary trailer out there. I mean, the concession is important to that group because they generate money off the concession stand. So it's an important component to them, and they feel they like it there. They want to stay there. They didn't ask for much. 2 new fields is, you know, still $100,000 to do dirt work and put sod on it and irrigation. So they're not cheap. But the good thing about it is the land is flat there, and I think we can put 2 fields there that won't be subjected to some of the erosion that we're currently facing. And now that we have, you know, some more documents to look at, David will work to cite those. So that's kind of for the Wildcats. Okay. The Wilson County Soccer, I went out. They were here, and we sat with them, and I went out to look at their location. And if you've ever been out there, they're at the what's it called, Masonic, and they also want to stay there. Now they recognize they don't have. There's a hazard there with 97. They're aware of that, but nevertheless they're happy there. And the only request they made is if the city would consider lighting their field. So if we got lights here, we are happy. We're fine. And you could probably light. We need to get a survey on that, but I think we could probably light those fields easy. It'd be an easy fix. We have to get some transformer out there. There is one entrance. The second entrance needs some work on it. There's an elevation drop off there, and there's some drainage problems in the back. Now that place, I wasn't out there on a game day. I was out there in practice, and there's a lot of traffic. So I can only imagine what it looks like on. But their leadership said we're happy here. Okay. Now, if you want to move them, you would have to incur the cost of where you're going to put them. Where's the land at? Put 8 fields. They have 8 fields up there,
And those 8 fields aren't exactly that big, though. What's the size of that piece of land there, do you think? Have an
They
idea?
said it was 3 acres. I thought it was more like 5 acres. So here's what they have there. They have two middle-sized fields. These are not full-size fields. And then they have 2 smaller fields, and 2 little pee-wee fields here. So when I say 8 fields, that's their field configuration there. And if they could get that lighted, they said they'd be happy. So it's we don't have a survey of that. We need a survey, and if we can't find one, we'll have to get one conducted. So they said they were happy there. I know there's a traffic, but we do not have another alternate location at this point for them. So they either get an answer from the city that, you know, we'll give you the lights and you can stay there, or we want to move you, but, you know, you got to find a place, because I don't know at this point we can site in here. We'd have to really look hard, and there may not be enough room to put that whole complex in one location. It's not a big complex, but I don't know if we can find 5 acres here that's flat, so. We did talk to Boys and Girls Club Soccer, and that's back, they're kind of lower, down in this area below the football field. Their request was for a high school size soccer field, a junior field, and a small field. And I have not been able to speak to that individual or contact the numbers and contact information I got was not working. So, and I had a hard time determining really the level of participation. I know that Wilson County Soccer has most of the kids there, and there could be some potential for field sharing at some of these other sites here. So, absent that, if there's no space, there's no other space to build a full-size field. The soccer, Wilson County doesn't use a full-size field. They use a mid-size field. So, there's just absolutely no location for a full-size field, and then they want a junior and a small field. So, I think there's a field sharing opportunity too. So, that's kind of what I got from them.
The soccer, they could also play with football.
Yeah, it could be used on football.
Yeah, as long as, they didn't have a conflict in how they're scheduled. And we're gonna go look, we're gonna have to look at this. There may be some sites where we could put, there may be a couple smaller fields there. But, it's kind of the same argument we used when, like with field number 3, if you don't have utilization there, that's a $400,000 field. You want people to use it if you're gonna build it. You don't wanna build it for a few games. Same thing with a large soccer field. If you don't have constant play on that, it's kind of a wasted asset. As opposed to a T-ball field that'll have, they'll play on that thing every day of the week. So I'm open to hearing anything y'all have to say. That's the feedback I got from the leagues. They were very helpful. They were not demanding. They were all reasonable. I thought they worked well, but they know what they want. They know what they want.
Anything from our attorney?
Well, the only comment I've got is just that we just did the deed with the Masonic, and one of the conditions is that remains there unless we wanted to get out of that deed obligation totally. We redid the deed there with the Masonic group, and in the former deed, there was a conveyance of the cemetery to the city. It's been reconveyed to the Masonic. It was a mistake in the deed. But the condition is that if you call the Masonic Little League site, and the city's requirement is to maintain the cemetery as a quid pro quo for having the granting of the site to the city. So from the Masonic point of view, that's a permanent site being granted to the city, with the only condition being you maintain the cemetery and you keep their name on the side of the fence.
So is it can the Little League Soccer stay there?
Yeah, it's intended
Okay.
that they do stay there.
They do stay there.
Yeah.
Well, we can, with relatively minor repair there, if worst case scenario, if you didn't want to give them the lights, that's all they'd be losing. I still recommend some other, fixes for their entrance.
The entrance and the drainage are the 2 issues.
Yeah, well, you could probably fix that pretty easy.
Yeah, mine's the traffic there.
Yeah, there is a
Someone's gonna
traffic
get hurt.
problem there.
And they're not exactly getting any smaller. I was speaking to her Saturday, and their census is going up when it comes to soccer. So they might look at getting some other thing going there.
And I'll just kind of share, it's going to grow, things are going to change, and you want to build, but they had their president there, their officers there, and they were all fine. Now they all recognize that. Do they think they're growing? Yes. But, that may be a phase 2 as we, look and see and get things done. What can we add? Maybe we can find other parks that are being underutilized. We don't have a big inventory of parks, but there's not a whole lot of 5-acre plots around.
Well, that's the other idea was I didn't believe that we should be separating that one park anyway. The whole idea was to make one complete park. It wasn't to segregate or separate or make initial other sites. So we need to really look into this before we even, I understand the associations, and we're going to work with them as far as we can, but the object was never to make 3 different parks. It was to make one complete park. And I think that's what we need to understand here. That's my opinion, of course, everyone has their own opinion. But when we looked at this, we looked at getting everyone associated and everyone in the same page. Separating the parks, for me, was not the idea. It was completing one park. And if we have to look at other means, then we will. If we have to look at how we can change these around. And, I mean, for the most part, you got all the information on what they're looking for, which is good. But, you know, we're separating sites here.
Well, actually, they're not, they're staying at their home, you're just building a new site for the Little League, but you.
But our idea was to move this over here. It was to be together.
I agree, you know, we could, if it were flat, we could do that, but it's not, so you're not able to rotate it.
Any other comments from the council?
And then, Bronson, you here? Bronson, do you own both fields lighted?
Yes, well, the issue is for practice. You know, as it is right now, if you go out there this evening, we'll be practicing on the softball field, two teams will be on the senior field. It's not for our game, our games this weekend start at 9 in the morning, so the lights don't affect us on game day. If you have them, it's nice, and you can back up and have once a year a homecoming and stuff like that, but they're irrelevant on game days. It's practice right now. We're practicing as it is, well, the playoffs, start next weekend. Our last home game is this weekend as far as regular season. And we're on baseball field, so if you put us one football field up there to share with soccer, it doesn't do us any good. I mean, we have to have, then we'll be on baseball fields again, practicing, tearing up their outfields. I mean, go look at what we've done to their fields. It's actually a shame what we've done to the outfield of the Little League right now. I mean,
But do you play games on lighted fields or not?
some of them are lighted. Some fields are.
I mean, as far as, do we have games here at night?
No, we don't. We don't.
So we couldn't just put those lights on your practice field?
That's what I'm saying. The issue is we have to have a spot for 4 teams. We've got our flag age group, which is 5 and 6 year olds, your midget age group, which is 6 and 7 year olds, your rookie age group, which is 8 and 9 year olds, and your 10 and 11 year olds is your junior group. With an option to have a senior group, we don't do it. We don't have the space to do, a senior group. Now, that's for your fall ball. If you do spring ball, they don't do flag in the spring, which we've never been able to do a spring league here because of baseball. Puts up the temporary fields on our existing football field. So anybody that plays spring ball travels. Like my stepson plays, last year he played for the Vernon Grizzlies in the spring. So, and he's looking to play spring again, so he either go to Vernon or have to drive him to San Antonio. So that's what he wants to do. It's the practice part of it, and time changes this weekend, and our flag team is undefeated. They're defending state champs. We're looking to go deep again. That puts us late into December playing the state games, and hopefully they will. With the time being back, it'll be dark at 6 o'clock when practice starts. And I mean, we don't have a problem. We work good with Little League, but it's unjust what we do to their fields, actually, in my opinion.
On the baseball and softball field, do we need 7? How about 6?
Which one would you?
What are y'all looking for as far as the 7 fields? Most of these you can break down, right? And make them.
We talked about like early games, have like 2 T-ball games on the junior field in the outfield, because we could have 2 games going at the same time. And then after those games are done, then we can do the junior boys later on the junior field. Is 6 and 7 T-ball fields or Pee-wee fields, or what are those?
They would be, they're coach pitch T-ball.
T-ball.
Because I think you have to do
If any of those would be cut, I'd say one of those, because we can also do 2 games at one time on the outfield of the junior field.
Actually, that sounds good. Because we actually want, we want y'all staying out there, you've been on this site, association with you. And 11:30, 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, Thursday isn't exactly great for the kids.
Yeah.
So giving y'all that space, but you only have 3 fields at the time. And now you're shooting 6.
And see, if we could get, if you can't do the 7, if we could at least get 1, we can always set up a temporary field out there till later, maybe money comes around. Kind of like how we have it set up right now, we do those temporary backstops for the fields for T-ball, because basically what they need is grass.
Right. All right, well, let's see, we'll put a question mark on that. 7th.
We can, I mean, field 5, you know, if you didn't need 2 softball fields, you don't have a softball league now, that would be the one I would recommend cutting. Because you
You
have,
could always play on the other fields anyway.
and then what I would do is turn field 1 and 2 around, so they're the clover, the same clover as, 1, 2, 6, and 7 would be the clover.
Yeah, do that too. You could always put a removable pitcher's mount on 3, and then you could do softball tournaments on 4 and 3 by
Yeah, 'cause
removing the pitcher's mount.
And the removals where you, it's gotta be universal for, I mean, all the different associations, for sure.
The Little League is meeting Sunday, you know, you've already
Yes,
meeting Sunday, they're meeting Sunday, and then they're gonna look at this and they're gonna.
What time do y'all meet on Sunday?
I think it's 4 or 6, but I can find out for sure.
Is it gonna be here at the park?
Yeah.
All right.
Little
Good,
League Park,
good,
yeah.
all right.
John, what about adult leagues?
Well, the adult leagues were gonna take,
Softball.
the adult softball were fields 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
I mean, why couldn't they play 1 and 2?
So those are Little League fields.
The grass, the infield, right.
The fence is only 225, the adult fields are
300.
275 to 300.
Any other comments from the council? Andy, anything?
Well, sir, John has briefed me prior to this meeting, that's why I've been moving around, but we've got all his documentation as far as what he's done to meet with these leagues. The reason and for this workshop is for the council to get the information and make your suggestions so he can move forward with that.
I'm gonna ask, we have Sarah Mendoza with us, she's the president of EDC. I'm gonna ask her if you have any comments.
Well, I agree with Mr. Gomez, Councilman Gomez, about the soccer field. I believe the Highway 97 we are growing, the league is growing, and I feel strongly that we should be, one place. It would be atmosphere, everybody, joined together, then separation. We've always been that way, and it looks like, I just feel it's best all in one place, one location. They could always use that Masonic Lodge for practice or I don't know, I just feel that in case we go bigger, we have extra space over there, but I really strongly feel that it should be. If we're gonna do something, I think we need to do it right and do it right the first time.
We're talking about 3 acres, John?
It may be 5 acres. And we'll take, what we'll do is David will take that, take his configuration here, and we'll see, the elevations are just a problem.
I mean, we have to look at,
Are we maxed out on the land already?
No.
It is.
No. But he's talking about the elevation being too uneven and probably too costly to even it out for a plain level.
That's the only thing that's left.
Correct?
You have your drainage, between the back part, and there's a big, huge drainage field right there. And it's just, I don't know if there's a 5-acre footprint. But we can
look into it.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
Any other discussion from the council, any comments? We'll try to have maybe one more workshop. If not, this month, next month. So, any comments, please, bring it up now.
Whenever again, the only comment that I've got, Mayor, is our next workshop or the council meeting, are we gonna get dollar figures? Because I'm sure that's a question that I'm gonna start getting, is what dollar figures are we looking at?
John, the complex amenities, for sure, on softball and baseball, they need to be covered. One of the main issues that we looked at when we were in softball was someone getting hurt. We have no netting, we have nothing there. The ball would shoot out, I guarantee you, we were hitting people out there. And unfortunately for us, we never hit a kid in the head. We hit some grown-ups, kind of shake it off, but even then. Even, I mean, that's important. The covers are important. The bleachers, not so much. I mean, I've seen people have gone to complexes where they just have seating. Put out a seat, they come out, you bring your own lawn chair. The sidewalk is all covered underneath. I don't ever see bleachers anymore. They're kind of being deleted, you know what I mean? Might look into that to save some monies and save it for construction of maybe even a new, if they're gonna separate it. At least the football is not too far from our site, okay? You know, at least it's not too far from the site. But I mean, they're gonna have to have a new amenity there. I don't want them shooting out of that old bathroom and.
Yeah, we would pick with the, we would
Right.
take that one
Right.
we'd probably tear down the old press box and do it. It's what we-
And even if we have to move it up a little bit, because it's a little too close to, we want to get away
Or
from.
we could elevate it to, you know.
You have a comment? Lou?
John, in talking with each of the groups, and particularly the possibility of moving Little League, soccer over there, you've just got one more group that's going to use your concession stand. What's the consideration about the adequacy of size and exclusive use versus non-exclusive use? I ended up refereeing a long battle over in San Antonio between 4 Little Leagues and their use of the concession stand. And I lost because nobody could get along. So the question I'm just posing is there enough space where everybody can have their stuff and store it, or are you planning to have the concession materials off-site, you bring them on for their use, close it up, clean it up, and then somebody else gets the concession? How does that get divvied up?
You know, I'm kind of like not getting into this. That is, the Little League fields will work their operation up here, okay? It'll be their operation. The city would enter into a contract with the Little League fields for their operation. Let's say the adult comes to the softball says, we need two because we want to run a tournament. So they would come to the city and they would take out a permit, pay $100 for the weekender. And I don't know that there would be equipment in there. I don't know that there'd be storage. It's kind of an operational, how the city wants to operate that. So,
But you know where I'm
I know exactly what you're saying. Now, that was a big key component for the Wildcat football. They like running their own concession stand. They're down here, they're out of the way, they stock it, they run it, do their manpower. It's a money maker for them. They're able to buy supplement uniform purchases and other equipment purchases. So they're fine here. They like doing it their own way. If they got to haul the trailer in, trailer out, as long as they have a connection for electrical connection and water connection, they're fine. So it would be same thing with the soccer. I mean, the Wilson County Soccer, they have their, they built a whole concession over there. They run that like they run a business. And, the labor, of course, is free, and any money they can make, they supplement everything they do there. So that's a good thing about having it separate. Now, you put them all on one site. That was the number one thing y'all mentioned. Who's going to run the concession stand? Yeah, they all.
That's why I'm bringing it
You know,
up.
why the
Every
city
group
run the
said that.
concession stand will fix that problem. You know what, really, in all honesty, we're building this for them, and this worrying about whose concession stand, that ain't gonna work. The whole process, and this is why we've gotten here, is for them to work together. Recently they have, and talking to them, talking with the softball, but if that's something that can't be figured out, then we'll have to figure out what we're gonna do about that. So we'll leave
John,
that.
who typically owns the concession stands when the city builds the complex?
It's usually the league.
The league?
I'll tell you why the city didn't run it, because it's just 3 or 4 more employees you have to pay. You have to pay their benefits, you have their employees, and you have to run that, you're literally running a business there. Most leagues run their own concession stand.
So how does the city benefit from this?
Well, the city benefits by providing a nice amenity for their leagues and constituents, and
It's the intangibles we're looking for.
yeah, I mean, you just have a place you can be proud of that your kids are playing on nice fields and nice amenities, and you have a nice park out there, and It's a cost, kinda like your police. You know, you don't make any money off your police. You don't make any money on streets, and you don't make, there's a lot of things governments don't make money off of. You just wanna minimize that expense. And by having the city run that, having the city run your concession is an expense, because you have to have employees out there.
We actually do it at the Civic Center, at the event center. So, you know,
What does your income statement look like? Are you making money?
so far, yes.
That's the real key there. I mean, if you think you can make money running a concession stand for leagues, remember, their labor is free. They don't have that labor cost. I mean, they could have it, but they could pay somebody to do it, and it's just, there's a lot of different ways to operate. It's just how much does the city want to do? That's your call. I'm not here to tell you how to operate. I'm here to just kind of make sure we can build the field we want to build for the amount of money we have. But there's a lot of different ways to do that.
What does the council want to see for the next meeting, Mayor? So we can move on. I know we've got.
Well, I'm gonna ask John, do you have any comments, anything?
No.
Everything looks good? Chris? Mario? Sherry, sorry.
Will we eventually put some guidelines together as what we want to happen with this? After we see the
Guidelines,
initial planning and design?
As
How
far
it's
as
run?
operation? Yes.
Yes, the operation
Yeah,
part.
that's-
So the concession stands are part of the operation, so at
Yes.
that time we'll discuss it?
Yes. Yeah, this is just talking about the
Right.
design and.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
The only reason I brought it up was,
Yeah,
the
you did.
situation I got into was, everybody wanted to quote their own.
And I agree with that, and that's why we still want some leagues still want the separation, that's exactly why.
Right, and one thing we have to consider, the property is still, it's 4A property. The 4A might have other considerations for concessions.
Exactly.
Let me just kind of, let me tell you what I'm gonna bring you back. This little entrance here that from the north end, we're gonna, a lot of road developed there. We're gonna clean this little area up right here, okay? We didn't really have we didn't know where that was gonna go until we knew where a water connection and sewer connection. So, David and I worked to incorporate this parking lot and this little, this play area and park area here where people, and then we'll clean up these fields here. We'll give you a 7-field look, and then we'll give you a 6-field look. And I mean, how we move those fields around, and we just like a puzzle. You just put them, you know, however you want to, as long as it's. I think we have a little more information. So that'll give you a clearer picture of what's going to happen here. And then we'll change the football field here, and we'll do another inspection. So.
What's the distance, John, from the center to the parking lot here, approximately?
I don't know, we're gonna, what, yeah.
30, 40 yards maybe?
Looks far, I mean.
Yeah, it is.
More than that?
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's not a scale, but it's.
From the center where the oak tree is, the oak tree's here, right? From the event center?
Yes.
You're looking at probably, close to about 2 acres. It's far, yeah, the center of it, yeah, it's gonna be, because you're gonna make, this is, when you come through here, right here is the parking lot, so you still gotta travel further down.
200 yards?
That's an approximation, I would say, I don't know.
So we have
Give or
about
take, because, I mean, the field itself is, what, 300, what is it, 315? 100-yard field? What, so you're looking easy at 200 yards, 300, 250.
So we have about that much land that is not usable.
Exactly, and that's what I'm
Is there
looking at.
anything at all?
Reparking.
But you,
More parking?
You can build a slanted parking lot. The football and the baseball fields can't do it.
see, and that's
Yeah.
something else right here, because we need to look at maybe setting the parking. And I'll shoot that out to you in a while. Because there's some unutilized land here that can be utilized. And if we can get away from that, and we can figure out something here,
I mean, if you
figure
think,
something out. We'll figure something out.
if you think far enough down the road, I mean, I know that you're doing some infrastructure there for the peanut festival. Is that what's going on back there? Possibly. I mean, you could continue to not do anything at this point, but maybe look at that down the road. I mean, once you connect the front end of the parking lot of this to the back end, and then you have a pretty unique, creative kind of a. So I don't know, but I don't know if the fields can go there because of the drainage factor, and elevations there. So we picked the flattest part, that we could find.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that, everything is listed here is good. Maybe bring the soccer Masonic over here to the main site.
If we can find 5 acres of flat.
Okay. All the other things on the project list looks good.
Yes.
Melissa, any comments?
Now, the soccer is gonna probably wanna come and talk to you about that, so I'm gonna suggest, because, you know, it was their desire to stay there. You may say, well, if the question you wanna ask them, if we can move you, we'll move. That's the whole deal with all these guys, they like where they're at, and they know what they have, so. But if, I don't know anybody that turns down a new home, but.
You didn't mention did you mention the splash pad?
Yes. We'll have to cite it, we just, you know, we got some more details today we can work on.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Ma'am, this is strictly a council workshop. We've had some public hearings in the past.
I can't ask a question.
Yes, ma'am, but you can ask me after the meeting.
I just want to know if y'all were going to do anything with the pool.
At this point, no.
It's not in this plan.
It's not in the plan.
It's not in the plan.
If there's no further questions or comments, the meeting's adjourned at 5:52.
Yeah, I'll talk to John. Actually, I talked to, and they don't want me. And as long as they keep the same, they're making decisions, and it's all, you know, this one, I'm saying, if not, just shoot me some. If you can shoot me
I've been there my whole life, you know that, so traffic ain't near like people do what's going down, so that helps.
Yeah, the highway department takes care of
Lo que tienen ustedes, usted no puede pensar así. Era lo bonito, estamos a todos, ustedes dan una pinche shell nomás. No, de una cachetada buenísima conmigo. Los negros, a los bonitos, que no hay prejudice como tú. Yo no soy prejudice.
Fine, and you? Did you have the third meeting?
We got everything that we need in that program.
Hi, Colonel.
Mr. Colonel, how are you?
Hey, Jesse.
I will see you later.
We're gonna let you take that to look at. That's something we're gonna use to hire.
How you doing?
Appreciate it, man.
It's a draft all over it, but I think we got it ready to go.
Yeah, they sure. Hi, Bruce. Ven para acá.
All right, brother, sounds good. I appreciate you coming by. All right? Appreciate you coming by. See what we can do for you, man.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right.
Wayne hasn't texted me back on time.
I'll catch you when
I think it's like 4, but I'm not sure.
All right, later on, Bronson, we'll keep in touch.
You know, it's only 3 acres like they say, maybe it is, but I don't think it's, I'll look at it, it is only 3 acres.
Right now, I am going to Houston this weekend to watch the game.
Probably won't get dark till about 6:30.